Hey, Alex here at the Caddis Fly Shop. Here to tie up a fly called the Super Shrimp. This fly was kind of developed in just tying a bunch of flies before, preparing for a red fishing trip. And this is like the one thing that actually kind of panned out. I tied a bunch of flies too big and they had littler bait in, so this is kind of what we got here. So I'll show you how I tied it, and it was a very effective pattern. All right, and we'll tie it with an SL11 3H. Offers a long shank. It's really good for kind of shrimp patterns. Shrimp are kind of long, and it sets the hook in the middle, and I don't know, just better hook up success. Maybe that's just in my head. I'm going to use a 6/0 fire orange thread, and I like non-wax, or when I put on brass eyes, it has kind of more tooth to it and grit. I'll always coat the shank of a hook. Makes it easier to apply materials to it. When I tie on bead eyes, I'm going to do 2 thread dams here. It's kind of just like 2 bumps. So there's one. I'm going to do this first, the next one here. And I'll set my eyes into that recess. It just makes it so I can get a tighter wrap around the eye without having so much thread. Alright, let's get a large gold brass eye out. I'm going to do 3 wraps here. 3 wraps the other way, go around it, and keep doing that as it inserts center. Rotary vise always helps with this. I prefer this Regal here. It's okay to really wrap these things. It really helps with the performance of the. You catch a lot more fish without it spinning around. Keeps that hook up. Got a little lovely thread break here. Which happens, you just do it again. And it's okay. So we'll go here and reinforce this a little bit. Yeah, feels nice. And what I always like to do with my shrimp patterns is I'll use a coyote pouch here. You get this really nice gray, tan, these little black guard hairs. It just looks like little antennas or eyes, or just looks really buggy / shrimpy. Kind of trim about a section, the shank of the hook. And I'll take the under fur off. I'll tie that down on the shank. All right. I use a medium barred tan and black leg. I don't have it in the package here, but that's kind of what it looks like here. Wrap around my thread like this. Kind of keep it back here, and I want to kind of be on both sides. And sometimes people use a grizzly feather for this to kind of give that barred effect. And when this fly moves, it really pops and kicks. Next thing I'll do is 3.5mm aqua fly eyes. Shrimp usually have a black eye. So that's kind of, I don't know, that's what I'm going to go with. So what I'll do is kind of like measure this eye from the eye tip to the, from the bead eye to like where I finish those legs. Kind of gives me a relatively good length. But before I tie that in, I'm going to grab my root beer chenille in the medium and tie that on there. And what I'll do is do a couple wraps of that. Make sure my rubber legs are secured in the spot. So then I'll just leave that there and put this in my material holder here. A couple wraps. And then this is where I'll do the eyes. It just helps keep them spread out.
Thanks, Eric. Let me know if you hear back.
Yeah, we'll get back to some Monday.
All right.
This makes it easy to measure those out. So yeah, from shank to the end of that. I kind of time it in an X pattern, so then if I need to adjust the, if you want to be too persnickety, it's going to go together here. Okay. Just going to check the legs and everything. I'm going to tie that down and tie my tags. I'll always trim these tags, but I like to tie most of that stuff onto the hook just because it keep those eyes really secured on there. I'll bring that up to my dumbbell eyes. I'm going to grab this root beer chenille now and kind of go over the legs and the eyes here. So then they kind of just ride in the middle. When I was in Louisiana, the shrimp are kind of this brown root beer color, and many other places they are, and kind of noticing the colors of, the bait you're mashing is always effective in catching more fish. So then I'll tie that off. Hairline has a new product I wanted to show today. This is the Lively Leg Brush in the white and shrimp pink. Really cool stuff here. And I'll just kind of use it as a collar. These big pink legs kind of will fold back and really gives this a buggy, shrimpy, leggy wiggle to it. So I'm going to tie that on right behind the eyes. I'm going to wrap this 2 or 3 times around my hook. So there's 1, I'll do 2. So I'm going to kick off that one because that's just too much material. There's a lot of stuff on here. So I'm going to tie that up here. Tie it off and trim it. Make sure you use crappy scissors or a wire cutter to trim these brushes. I'm just lazy and just have scissors I can use for everything, but so I'll kind of massage these fibers out. Looks nice and shrimpy. What I like to do before I do my overwing here is I'm going to trim out some of this material. So when I put this root beer craft fur on, it kind of keeps it flat on there. So I'm going to kick my thread up behind the eye and then apply craft fur. And I put a really generous chunk on there, about a 3/4 of an inch wide. Same kind of thing, I'll take the under fur off. Something you want to watch with these kind of shrimp patterns and the craft fur is, why I do it so thick is I don't want too much of this stuff to interfere with the hook because it gets ratty, especially after it hits salt water. And so I kind of try to keep it as short. And I use this to kind of make a two-tone quality because this kind of makes a wide underbelly in the coyote. I'll kind of show you more as the fly finishes up. And I tie this overwing just like I would a clouser. So I'm going to do 2 or 3 wraps, and then I'll take my index finger and spread that out so it kind of fans out the material and gives it kind of more of a rounded shape there. And I will kind of wrap that other stuff there at the thread, bring it back over. That is essentially the pattern there. I'm going to use a hand stitch. Sometimes I would cut off this bottom stuff here, but I think it kind of adds a nice white color to it.
Do you have this one here?
And if you live here in Oregon, I think this would make an excellent surf perch pattern as they start to spawn in the late spring or early summer. Yeah, that's what I call the super shrimp.